Okay, so yesterday we have covered till input, Python input and output functions, right? So today we'll be starting with the control statements. Okay, so control statements, or we can call them conditional statements depending on usage. So control statements, what basically these do? These will kind of control the flow of program. Okay, we can also term this as flow control statements. So based on some defined set of conditions, Mike, based on some defined set of conditions, this will decide whether they need to execute the following code or not. Okay. So basically we have three types of statements here. One is if, one is elif, which is a short form of else if. Okay. And then we have else. So elif and else, we have to always use it in combination with if. Okay. So we have to always use elif and else in combination with if. Okay, we can't use them independently. Just let me take annotation. So if you see the syntax for for if statement, we need to have keyword which is if, and it should follow, like it should be followed by condition or conditions. So we can define a single conditions or multiple conditions. And if conditions are satisfied and if condition is true, then the statement inside if will be executed. Okay, if condition is false, then like this program flow won't go into the if statement. It will just skip that if block. Okay, so when writing these conditionals or looping statements, anything, just pay attention, like pay attention to the indentation. Okay, we have to always indent our code. If you see these statements over here, we are kind of indenting them, like with tab or four spaces. We have to always indent them. And as I said, elif and else we have to use only with this if combination. We can't use them independently. But in case of if, we can use it independently without any elif or else. Okay. And code executed only when condition is satisfied. Like if in this case, if condition inside if is not satisfied, sorry, if this condition is not satisfied, then it will check for the second condition, which is defined here. I think we'll be getting one condition here. I forgot to add that. So it will check for elif condition. So this if elif and else, this is kind of if else ladder. We'll call this if else ladder. Okay, we can have as many statements as possible. We can have some n number of conditions here. There is no restriction. Okay, so when we are using this if elif, like this flow will always start with if and it will end with else. Okay, in between we can have any number of elif blocks which are nothing but else if. Elif is short form of else if. Okay. And when the if statements condition is failing, if condition fails, then the code enters into this elif or else. Okay, in case of simple if else, the if condition is evaluated to false, then this will execute else condition. Okay. In case of elif, it will keep on checking all the conditions which we have given with elif. And if none of the conditions are satisfied, then at the very end, we have this else, right? If all if and elif conditions are not satisfied, then the statements within else block will be executed. Okay. So let's see this practically. Okay. Let's say I have three variables here, which are A, B, and C. Okay. And this is my first program, like first conditional statement, which is if A less than B. So it will check whether if A is less than B. So if it is less than B, then it will return true. If it is not less than B, it will return false. In our case, we have this A is equal to 5 and B is equal to 6. So this condition will evaluate to true. Okay, this A less than B will be true in this case. Hence, the statement inside this, like the statement inside if block will be executed, which will be print A is less than B. Okay. And then we have this second statement. This is kind of nested, like sorry, if else ladder. We have if condition, then elif condition, and then else condition, right? So first it will check for this condition. We have this if greater than b. So if greater than b kind of evaluated to false. Reason being a is less than b, right? Then it will check elif a greater than C. It will check for this condition. If A is greater than C, even this condition will be false, right? So it won't execute this thing as well. And then it will go to the final else and it will just print A is the smallest number since these two conditions failed. Okay. And I think when working with the list and this thing, we have seen this particular program like find a given number, find if a given number is even or odd, right? We tried printing all our even numbers in case of list and tuples, right? So similar program. If you see, this is kind of simple if else block where we are taking input from user. Like we'll be asking user for input and we'll take that input into number variable after converting typecasting it to integer, and we'll check if it is perfectly divisible by 2 or not. Okay, if it is divisible, then we'll make print like a number is even. If it is not, then we'll be printing number is odd. Okay, this is one simple if else program which we have covered already during our list topics, right? And if you see this particular thing here, okay, while using if with conditions, anything other than 0 will be true in case of numbers. Okay, if we are considering numbers, if we are not giving any conditions as well, let's say we have a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 6. If I give if a plus b, then this condition will be evaluated to true. The reason being a plus b here in this case is 11. Okay, any number, it may be negative or it may be positive. Any number apart from 0 will be considered as true and number 0 will be considered as false in case of this Python conditionals. Okay. Now let's get to this practical and let's see how we can. So we'll be taking the same example which I have given here, A, B, and C, 5, 6, and 10, right? Okay. So I have. So I have three variables A, B, C, and in first case, what I am doing, I'm just trying to print if check if A is less than B, and I'm trying to print the this thing, right? Okay, I think it's running. Sorry. So this is just we are checking if A is less than B, and if it is true, when this is evaluated to true, only then the statements within this if block will be executed. Same goes with other examples as well. If I am checking for A greater than B, print. Okay, now basically I have taken the same example which I have shown in our presentation. Okay, and I'm just making small changes here. And we have already covered the first one, so let's skip it. So now I'm just executing one if else ladder. In this case, in the very first if, it will check if A is greater than B, which is false. So it won't enter into this block. Then it will check for the second condition, which was given with elif statement. And even the second condition, a greater than, sorry, I think I have repeatedly given same thing, a greater than c, should be a greater than c, right? Okay, in second condition, it will again check if a is greater than c, which is again false. So it will kind of skip executing this block. And the final else, since these two conditions are false, it will execute this, which one? A is the smallest number, which is in else block. So now if I say if a plus b, sorry, a plus b, print a plus b, okay. If you see here, I haven't given any condition here. I'm just giving a plus b. So a plus b here will evaluate to what do we have here? 11, right? 5 plus 6, 11. And you can see that it's kind of printing us the result, okay? Else result is 0, okay? Now if I say I'm taking both A and B as 5, and I'm just doing another condition which will be A minus B. Okay. So in this case, if it is, let's see what the program gives us. Okay. You can see that, okay. I think I have made incorrect assignment here. You can see the result is 0 is printed. The reason being a minus b here will evaluate to 0. So only 0 will be considered as false in Python. Any other value apart from 0 will be considered true. Okay. So now let's move on to our presentation. And then we have, for controlling these flows, we'll be having some conditions, right? Based on the conditions which we have with us, this will be like flow of the program will be controlled based on the condition evaluates to true or false. Okay. In this case, if you see here, we have these conditions below defined conditions are used. Okay. Supported in Python for making these comparisons and evaluations. Okay. First one is double equal to. I think we have covered it many times, right? We have seen came across this many times. Single equal to will be a assignment operator, and for equality comparison, we need to give double equal to. Same here. Like this is for a not equals b. This is a short form of a not equals b, and it is a greater than b less than b, and we have greater than or equal to b, and then we have less than or equal to b. So all these are the conditions which we can use define in our statement. Okay. And we can also have some membership operations, like let's say we have list with us, and if number 5 in list, we can have that membership comparisons as well using is like in operator, okay, which is used for membership operations. Okay. Then we have this shorthand if and else. Okay. So in within if block, if you are having only one statement to execute, after checking condition, if you are performing executing only one statement, so in that case, what we can do here is we can define it in a same line. Okay, we can just give if a less than b, and print a is the smallest number. Okay, you can give it in the same line of the code instead of doing it in second part. Okay. And same thing here. We can perform if same with if else. If you see here, this will be our condition. Okay. If A is greater than B. So if condition is true, then the left side of the statement will be executed. If condition is false, here we have else. The right side of the statement will be executed. Okay. You can also do the same thing. Here we have used one if else, right? You can do same with multiple if else. Okay. Initially, we have this leftmost statement which will be executed when if condition is true. Else, we can keep on going like if for else print equal, like we have this equal, right? This will be checked with this condition. If A is equal to B, then this will be printed. Okay. And even if this condition is false, then it will go to third one where we'll be printing it as print B is large. Okay. So if you have only single statement to execute, we can kind of perform operations in the same line as shown here. Okay. And then we have multiple conditions. So these are kind of simple single conditions, right? We are just checking if A is less than B or B is less than A sort of thing. So we can also check for multiple conditions, okay, with the help of logical operators. I think we have seen some and or not operators, right, in our logical. So using those and not operations, we can kind of perform multiple condition checking here. If you can see here, I'm basically trying to check three conditions, like if A less than B and B less than C and C greater than A. Okay. So the result of this condition, like these conditions will be evaluated to false. The reason being these are and operators, right? When we are using and operators, all the conditions should be true. Okay. All the conditions should be true in case of and. So if you see here, this third condition, which is C greater than A, this is false, right? So whole this statement will be evaluated to false. Okay. In case of and, all conditions must be true. But in case of or, any one condition must be true. Okay. It's kind of opposite to and. In and, we need all conditions to be true. In case of or, we need only one condition. Like any of the condition mentioned here must be true. Then the like final evolution will be evaluated to true. Then we have not A greater than B and B greater than C, right? So basically this not will kind of negates the actual result. It will kind of invert the actual result. If you see here, A greater than B is false and B greater than B is C is false. Okay. This actual result here is false, but this not is kind of negating the result, and hence we'll be getting this as true. Okay. We'll be getting this as true. Now just practically check this short-handed if and else. Okay. So if you see here, I'm just checking for this condition, like if A equal to B, then print this. So in case of this if else, we need to use here if else. I just need to give this statement which I need to execute before, and then we'll be having if, and then we'll be having else, and we need to have our second statement. Okay. Now let's say I have taken A and B as here. You can see this A is not equal to B. This particular thing will be executed. Okay. So you can keep on chaining these conditions. Let's say I have this A is equal to A comma B comma C is equal to. I have taken three numbers which are now A, B, C. I can perform multiple conditions. Like I can directly try evaluating this. A is equal to B and sorry, B less than C and C less than A. Okay. I'm checking for three conditions here, and this particular condition is kind of evaluating to false. So that's why whole this condition will turn out to be false. Okay. And then I have, if I use or in the same case, it will evaluate to true. Okay. You can kind of change these conditions as well. Let's say if I use and here, I need to just enclose it in a brackets. Okay. It will now check for these conditions. And how this will be checking? First, this will check if A equal to B or sorry, A less than B or B greater than C. Let's say we have B greater than C. So here A less than B is correct. Okay. A is actually less than B and B greater than C. We have this B greater than C, which is false, but we have OR operator here. So when using OR, any of the one condition should be true. So whole this statement will evaluate to true. And then we have C less than A, which is false. Okay. We have true here and we have false here, and we are using AND operators, right? So this whole result will evaluate to false. And if I'm changing it to C greater than A, so then right hand side I have true and left hand side I have true, and final result will be true. So you can kind of nest it in any way you want. You can kind of add not over here. Okay. Then this will be treated as a single condition. Okay. And if I print this again, you can see that this will become false. The reason being, let's say I'm making this a greater than b. Now within our block, both conditions are false. Okay, a greater than b is false and b greater than c is false. So this whole condition is kind of negated. Now this false will become true. True and true will become true. The final result here will be true. So you can kind of chain these operators in any way, and you can check any number of conditions, okay, using these operators. And we can kind of have nested if else blocks as well. So we have seen if else and if else, right? So we can kind of nest these conditionals one within other. Okay, you can kind of have nested if else blocks as many as possible. We can go to any depth using this if else nested property. Okay. So if you see here, as I said, else and elif, we kind of always need to use it with if. Okay. If we have this if here, for this if condition which we have here, the outer if is this one. Okay. Now let's say, let me explain what this will be doing. We have this ABC which are 19, 18 and 19. So initially it will check for this condition if a less than 10. So this turned out to be true. Then it will go inside and it will print a is less than 10. Then within this if block, we have this if b greater than 10. So it will check if b is greater than 10, which is 18, right? 18 greater than 10. So even this will be true. So this will enter into this second conditional, okay, second if block, and it will print this statement, which is print b is greater than 10. And then within this second if, we have third if, which is c less than 15. Okay. It will go to this condition where we have c less than 15 and it will check for this. Here, if you see here, here print c less than 15. So if c is less than 15, it will enter this block, else it will enter this else block and it will print c greater than c. So in this particular case, the output of the program will be, first it will print a less than b, a less than 10, and then it will print b greater than 10, and then it will print c is greater than 15. Okay. So it will keep on going. If it is failing in the very first block, let's say here if we have a greater than 10, but ideally we have this 9. So this makes this condition false, right? So it won't enter into this loop. It will directly jump to this else block, okay, which is this else is for this outer if block, and it will just print a is greater than 10. Okay, clear, right? Clear with nested if, right? Nested if else. Any questions in this part? Okay, so now we have this. This is the nested if else block, right? Which we have, as I have seen in the shown in the PPT. You can see that A is less than 10, B is greater than 10, C is greater than 15. So all these are true statements which we are in the very final block. Inner if else, it is condition is evaluating to false. Hence, it is going into else block. Okay. Now let's say I am making this condition a bit. I'm making this condition as b less than or else let's say b greater than 20. Okay. Now if I execute this, sorry, you can see this a is less than 10. Okay. So you can see here a is less than 10. The first condition evaluated to true. In second, we have b greater than 20, which is false. So it won't enter into this all these these things. Okay, in the inner if else. So it will directly skip to second else, which is for this second if block, and it will just print this particular statement, which is b less than 18. Okay. Same goes. If the first condition goes false, then it won't enter into this whole block. It will directly jump to else and it will print this. Okay. And then we have this pass statement. Okay. So one rule which we should follow with if is when we are defining if block, there needs to be at least one statement in that. Okay, we should have at least one statement within this if block. We can't just define empty if blocks. Okay, so there may be some conditions where you want to just initialize that if block and you have block, but you are kind of doing nothing. So in such cases, if in this case, let's say I have this 18 greater than 9. And if I'm just executing this will throw error saying that incomplete input. So I have to do something over here. So now I am doing here pass. Okay. If I execute this will just execute. So pass here is, as name suggests, it is just passing this. Okay. It is passing this thing without doing anything. So basically pass won't do any sort of thing. It don't have any significance. Just to avoid this sort of things, we'll use that pass. Okay. And then we have this aside. Okay, this is one thing which we can see many, like we can see majorly in these testings. Okay, unit testings and which we unit testing which we perform for our development work. But anyways, we can cover it here since this is kind of does the same operation which which will evaluate the conditions basically. So this is majorly used while debugging our code. Okay, so when you have large bulk amount of code with us, some large like a huge lines of code, then the only way to identify errors is to debug the code. We need to debug the code line by line within the block where the code is breaking. So we'll be using this asset mostly in those while debugging the code. Okay. So what aside will do, it will just check if condition is true or not. Okay. If condition is true, then it won't do nothing. It will just passes to the next line. Okay. If the condition is false, only in that case, it will raise an error, which in our case will be assertion error. Okay. If we are checking any conditions using assert and if the condition is becoming false, then this will raise assertion error. Okay. Now let's see this practically how this works. I'm taking same lines of code from here and I'm pasting it in my this thing. Seems I have not many mistakes here. Okay. Should be also nine. I need to give small p here. Okay. What is incorrect here? Why it is throwing up error? Did I miss out something? This is syntax error, but what exactly I'm missing here? Just give me a moment. I think I'm doing something wrong here. Okay. Do I need to give print or what? Just let me check here. No. I think I might have missed the usage. Just give me a moment. Let me check how we'll be using this asset. Okay, do we have this code examples? Okay, we have this code examples here. Okay. Okay, sorry, my bad. I think I have missed out comma here. Okay, sorry for the interruption. So if you see here now, what basically it's doing, it is asking user for a input. Okay, it's asking user to enter an input number which is greater than 9. Okay, so it will check after entering number. This assert statement will evaluate the condition. If number is greater than 9, it will just go to the next line without doing anything. Okay, if I see enter 10 here, it will just give me output saying that you have entered number 10. Okay, if I am kind of executing this again, yeah, I think the runtime got restarted. If I am entering some number which is less than 9, so in this case, you can see here, right? Assert number is like it is actually checking if number is greater than 9 or not. Since this condition is evaluated to false, it will raise an assertion error. Okay. It will raise an assertion error with the message which you have given here, like entered number is less than 10. Okay. It should be less than 9. Entered number should be less than 9. Okay. So this is the statement, like this aside is kind of very powerful thing which we'll be using while debugging our code. Okay, while debugging our code, we can kind of insert number of assets and check where exactly the code is breaking. If the previous line is giving the expected output or not. So and then we have loops. Okay, loops is also kind of flow control statements only. This will kind of control the flow. If wherever the Python interpreter executes this, encounters this loop, it may be for loop or it may be while loop. It will be kind of performing the like it will kind of get away from the normal flow and it will kind of repeatedly executing the code in these cases. Let's say if it encounters for loop, and for loop will be always using it with sequences, right? So as far as the for loop iterates over sequence of all the elements of sequence, the interpreter will keep on executing code within for. Okay. Same with while loop. So I'll explain what is while loop in the next after covering first for loop. Okay. So basically, why we use for loop? So for loops are used to iterate over sequence object. Okay, we can iterate over any sequence object. It may be list, tuple, dict, set, or string. It may be some range function which will give us range of numbers. It may be anything. Okay, and then execute set of statement repeatedly. Okay, so as I said, we have, let's say we have 5 elements in list 5. Okay. In this list, we have 5 elements, 5 items. So when you give for item in list and execute something, so it will start from the very first item. For each item, it will be kind of executing some set of statements. Okay. Those may be complex functionalities or those may be simple statements. So in this case, if you see for I in range of 1 comma 10, so I'm taking range of 1 comma 10, which is nothing but range is a iterable object which contains numbers from 1 to 10 in this case. And it will just print it. Okay. I'm taking numbers for I in range of 1 to 10 and I'm printing them. So what this function will do, this will print numbers from 1 to 10, one by one. Okay. Sorry, 0 to 9. Since the indexing and range will start from 0 and it will kind of won't consider this upper bound, right? So it will print numbers from 0 to 9 in this case. So within if, we can also use conditional statements, like we can have this if condition, right? We can use this if condition within this for loop. Let's say we have this for I in range of 10. So we need to print only even numbers which are from 1 to 10. So in this case, we can just define this condition which will check if number is even or not. Only if number is even, it will print this saying that I is even, I will be number. If not, then it will again go to the next number. Okay, it will keep on iterating till the number 10 and only it will check for condition and only prints even numbers. Okay. This for and if when combined, this will kind of form one, what do you say, powerful, like it's kind of very powerful combination, like using a for and if together. Okay. And then we have these statements, okay, which we use to control the flow of loop. Okay. To control the flow loop behavior, we can use these statements. The first statement here is break. Okay. What break statement will basically do is it will just like whenever we are giving break, whenever it encounters some sort of like a break keyword, it will just terminate the loop. Okay. Let's see practically. Let me go to this thing. Let's say for I in range of 50, if I percentile 3 equal to 0, print of I. Okay. So if you see here, what this is basically doing within for loop, I'm kind of using this I percentile 3 and I'm kind of printing them. So it's basically taking numbers from 0 to 49 and it is kind of checking for all numbers. And if the number is multiple of 3, then it will just print it. If number is not multiple of 3, it will just kind of go away from here. So now I'm printing numbers 1, 2, 3, and I am enforcing one more condition here saying that I shouldn't be I should print only numbers till 10th table. Sorry, 10th multiple, which in this case is 30, right? When I percentile 3 is 30, or we can have this I into 10, which is kind of, we need to print only till the 10th multiple of 3. So in this case what we can do here is we can just have this break over here. Okay, I think I'm doing it incorrect. Let me go inside. Oh, sorry. I think it should be 30, right? Because this condition will always evaluate to true. The reason being you kind of multiply it. So if I is I percentile 3 is 10 over here, only in that case I need to break the loop. Okay. Sorry. Why this is not executed. Okay, okay. Just give me a second. I'm doing something wrong here. Okay. Okay. Basically, I'm printing it beforehand. So that shouldn't be the case. Okay. Within this, I need to perform this action, right? With I percentile, uh, when it encounters I percentile 3 is equal to 10, then I need to break this. Okay. This is why the condition is not being satisfied. Okay. 30 by 3. Level 2. Sorry, my bad. I am using the incorrect operator over here. Okay. It should be I less than this thing, right? This thing. I divided by 3. I'm kind of using the modulo operator. I'm trying to break this, okay, which is incorrect. So this condition is always evaluating to true. Sorry, it's my bad. So what I'm doing here, I'm iterating from 1 to 50 and I'm kind of checking if it is divisible by 3 or not. And if it is divisible by 3, I'm printing. And I have one more condition wherein I need to terminate if it reaches its 10th multiple. Okay, which in this case is 30, right? So when it performs this I divided by 3 equal to 10, so it will just break it. So even though we have 20 more numbers to cover, when as soon as it encounters the break statement, it will just stop printing them. Okay. If I use continue in this case, So break is basically kind of, it will terminate the loop. But continue, what continue will be doing, it will just exit the current iteration. Okay, current iteration. It won't do anything if it encounters this current iteration. If you see here, we have this 30 printed, right? The reason being, the print, we are printing it before checking this condition, right? If I am giving this here, let's say if I'm moving this print to outside, like if I'm checking printing this after this condition is met, okay. So now what this program will do, it will iterate from 1 to 50 and it will check for every condition and it will print all the multiples of 3. And wherever it is encountering this 30, like after 10th multiple, it will just skip the current iteration. Okay, this continue will just continue. It will skip all the statements which were available after continue and it will just go to next iteration. If you see here, after this ninth iteration, this condition is satisfied that we have reached 10th multiple. So it is now, it is entering into this loop and we are just making continuing. So we are just kind of skipping this current iteration. Okay, break will be breaking the entire flow, entire loop. Okay, break will break the entire loop wherein continue will skip the current iteration. Okay, if you see these conditions here, okay, we have this colors defined. We have red, green, orange, pink, and blue. And for C in colors, if it encounters orange, then this will be breaking the loop. So output in this case will be red and green because the third item here is orange and loop will be kind of terminated when it encounters orange. If you see the second case for C in colors, what I am doing, if C is orange, then just continue. Okay, don't do anything. If not, it will print everything. If C is orange, it won't do anything. In all other cases, it will keep on printing. If you see the output here, we have red, we have green, we have pink, and we have blue. We don't have any orange here because we are just kind of continuing. We are skipping that iteration. So if you see the third case here, we have this same statement again. We are iterating through colors and we are checking if C is equal to or orange or not, and we are passing this statement. Okay. So can you guys guess what's happening here? Okay, what will be the output of this program? Like, can you guys guess what will be the output of this program in third case? Output. What will be the output of program in the third case? What the, if you have seen first and second statements based on break and continue, we have got different outputs, right? In third for loop, I have used this pass. So what will be the output in this case? Any guess? You have seen, right? You have seen pass, you have seen break, you have seen continue, and you know, like you might have understood what those things will be doing, right? So what will be the output for this third program? Just guess, like no harm in guessing, right? It may be correct or it may be false. Just guess for Amraj output. Nothing. Like what might be output? 4? Output 4. 4 or it will print 4 items. 4 items. Red, green, pink. Red, green, pink, and blue. Okay. So if you see the output in this case will be, it will print all items of the list. Okay, it will print red, green, orange, pink, and blue. The reason being, I have made here, if what I am doing here, I am looping through colors, every color in the colors list, and I am checking if color is orange or not. If color is orange, what I am doing? I am doing nothing. I am just passing it. This pass is doing nothing here, and I am just printing it. Okay, so pass has no significance in this case. Okay, even if the condition is satisfied, nothing will happen. It will just keep on doing its work. Okay, clear, right? Don't confuse with pass and continue. This is the place where you might get confused with pass and continue. Okay, pass will kind of do nothing. There is no significance for pass. It won't do anything. Continue will skip the current iteration. Okay, whichever iteration it is happening, it will just skip the current iteration and it will go to the next iteration. But break will kind of completely terminate the loop. Okay, inside which the like break statement is encountered, it will terminate that loop. Okay. And if break is encountered in different like we have this nested for. Okay, we have this first for loop. Where is this statement? We have one first for loop, then we have second for loop, then we have third for loop. So we might have nested for loops, right? In this case, break will be terminating the loop in which it is kind of defined. If it is break is defined in this fourth for loop, it will terminate only fourth loop. If it is defined in second for loop, it will terminate only second loop. Okay. I think I forgot this example. Let me practically show how this should work. Okay. For I in range of 50. Okay. If I percentage 10 equal to 0. Print of I. I'm just printing all the multiples of 10. Okay. And then I have for j in range of 20. This is my second for loop. Here what I'm checking if I is even or not. Okay. And I'm just printing it. Okay. And within this for I have third for loop. For k in range of 1 to 10. If I percentile to not equal to 0. This should be j here and this should be k here. Okay. Sorry, j here. Should be k here. Should be j here. Okay. So let's say I'm executing this loop now. So what this? I think I made some terrible numbers here. Okay. I'm just taking for I in range of 3. Sorry, not this one. For I in range of 3. I'm just printing the first one without any conditions. Okay. And from second one onwards, I'm doing this. Okay. Range of 20. I'm checking for multiples of 5 and I'm printing. And for in range of 10, I'm printing all the odd numbers. Okay. So if you observe this code here, okay, even now it's kind of very complex. If you see here, this is the first loop. In first loop, for I in range of 3, it will just print I. It won't do anything. It will just print I, which will be 0. And then it will go to second loop here. In second loop, it will check for this thing. If j is divisible by 5 or not. And if it is divisible, then it will give this. Let's say I modify this 5 number. Okay. I'm just making it 5 number. So it will print 5 number. Okay. If you see here, if okay, now if we check it now. Okay, if you see here, we have initially we have this 0. For 0, it is printing 0 and then it's going inside and here it's checking if it is divisible by 5 or not. And I am taking not equal to 0 as well since 0 is divisible by any number, right? So if it is divisible by 5, then I am printing 5 number. This is my second loop and I'm going into third loop. In third loop, if you see, I have this range 1 to 10. For range 1 to 10, I am checking if number is even or not. Okay. and I am printing it. If you see here, 13579. This is first time. Okay. And then we have this J again. Okay. Now this loop will be ended. Now this will go into this J again. Now this is printed second time. 1, 2, 3, 7 sort of thing. So it will keep on printing it for this many times. Okay. Print odd K. Then we have third time. Then we have this fourth time. Okay. So then we have this fifth time. So here, if you see here, these are the nested for loops, right? This is the very first for loop where we are kind of just printing I. So after making this thing, it will again go to the second one, which will be the number uh, 5, right? So if you see here, for 0, it hasn't done anything. For 1 also, it is just kind of for 0, first it will go to 0, and then for j in range of 20, from 1 to 20, it will check if number is divisible by 5, then it will print. Okay. Then after that, it will check if number is odd or not. If it is odd, then it will print it again. Okay. This iteration will happen 5 times. Correct? This iteration will happen 5 times. Okay. Same thing again. After this, it will kind of go here again. This will check for, it will keep on executing till fifth time. At fifth time, it has encountered number 5, which is divisible by 5. Hence, it will print this 5 number, which is 5. Then for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Till 10, it will again execute this thing. At 10th place, it has found this 5 number again, right? Then you can see 5 number 10. Then this is for 11th iteration. This is for 11th. This is for 12th. This is for 13th. This is for 14th. And this is for 15th. It will execute this 5 times. And then it will print this number. Okay. So I think it might be confusing now. Even it's confusing for me. If you see this for loop, for every j. Okay. For every j, this will be executed k times. Okay. This one, for every I, it will be executed j times. Okay. For every I, this will be executed 5 times, sorry, 20 times. And for every j, for these 20 times, this will again in turn will be executed 10 times. So now, how many times these loops are basically executing? Here we have 10, 20, 20 into 10, 200, 200 into 3, 600. So these 6 simple lines of code is kind of executing 600 times. Okay. If you kind of scroll, you can keep on scrolling this. It will kind of being executed 600 times and it is kind of printing us things. Okay. Now in this case, what I wanted to check, as soon as it encounters the odd number, I just need to break it. Okay. As soon as it encounters odd number, or else let's say it encounters fourth multiple, it will just break it. Okay. I haven't commented out this code here. If you see now, it was not executed for everything. If you see here, this odd one, we have this odd one, right? It is being executed only for 1. It's not being executed for other things. Okay, if I make it equal to 0, so till fourth multiple is executed, this will kind of print it. Okay, it will take numbers 1 to 10. Whenever it's encountering 4, it will kind of print it and it will just terminate the loop and then it will go back to initial. Okay, and it will again start from 2 to 10 and it will kind of just after encountering 4, it will terminate it. Then 3 to 10, 4 to 10, 5 to 10. Okay. If you see here, this break here, this is kind of breaking only this loop. Okay. This inner loop. It won't break all the loops. Okay. If I'm having break over here again, if you see here, now the output kind of became reduced. The reason being this inner break will be breaking this loop, the inner for loop. And this break will be breaking only this loop. Okay, this loop. Just remember, wherever in nested for and these for loops, in whichever loop the break is encountered, it will break only that particular loop, not the outer loops. Okay. In this case, after entering this break, this solution is kind of further simplified. If I am making this break here again, this is for the very first loop. So if you see here, it has just printed the very first one, which is 0, and it has breaked it. Okay. This will break outer loop, and second break will be breaking the second loop. Okay. If you see the second, as soon as encounters the number 5, it is kind of breaking it, right? As soon as number 5, it will break it. First time, it will print 0. Then it will go inside. It will check numbers from 1 to 20. And if it is not finding this number, it will go to third loop. Okay. Till the number 5 is encountered, within second loop, third loop will be executed. Okay. And after number 5 is encountered, it will just print number 5 and it will break it. So it is breaking it here. Now this won't, this whole loop, these two loops won't execute. Now this will go to second iteration where we have 1. And within 1, again it executes it 5 times. Then after number 5 is encountered, it will terminate these two loops. Okay. Clear, right?
Yes, Mahir.
Just yeah, the reason I am saying this is you might be running into these sort of errors, like using this break in incorrect loops, nested loops. You might kind of running into errors during your coding. Just be cautious. Just remember that break will only terminate the inner loop, not outer loop. Okay. So, and then we have this while loops. Okay. These while loops, these are kind of similar to for, but here this will kind of executing the statement as long as condition is true. Okay. As long as condition is true, the statements within while will be kind of executing continuously. So, if you see the first one here, we have number is equal to 1. And in this case, while the number is less than or equal to 20. So as long as number is less than or equal to 20, it will keep on printing the number. Okay, it will keep on printing the number and it will just kind of increment it. Okay, the number is equal to 1 while number less than or equal to 10. Print of number and is equal to this thing. Okay. I'm into braces. So now can you guys guess what's happening here? If you see, this program will never stop. Okay, this particular block of code, it will never stop. If we leave it like this, it will kind of continuously keep on executing forever. It will never stop. I'll explain the reason for this. Okay, now let me rerun this again with this correction. Now as you can see, it is kind of checking if number is less than 10 or not. If number is less than or equal to 10, then it will print. Okay. So it will keep on printing numbers from 1 to 10. So after 10, since 10 is equal to 10, then the while loop will be kind of stopping. Okay. Now we have seen the previous case here, wherein we are kind of, this program is kind of continuously executing. The reason here, if you see here, we have this number is equal to 1. Okay. And we have this while number is less than or equal to 10, we are printing number. And if you see here, it's kind of printing 1. Always it's printing 1. The reason being, if you observe this particular increment operator here, this number is equal to number plus 1. This thing we are doing outside while loop. Okay, not inside while loop. So since it's not being done inside while loop, this number is equal to 1 will be kind of true forever. Okay, this number is 1 as long as the while loop exists. So it will keep on executing this forever without stopping. Okay. This condition which we have seen here, this is called infinite loop. Okay. So if you are not handling that while loops correctly, then there are chances that our program will be running like infinitely. Okay, then it won't stop. It will be kind of executing that loop infinite times. It won't stop. Okay, you have to be very careful when kind of handling these conditions, while conditions and increments over here. And then we have else, right? So we have seen if and else, right? So similarly, we can also use else with while as well. Okay. In case of while, what else will be doing is as long as the condition is true, it will keep on executing statements within while. So once the condition is evaluated to false, okay, once the while condition is evaluated to false, in that case, it will kind of execute the else loop. Okay, let's say I have this here. I'm printing numbers from 1 to 10, and as soon as the while loop is ended, I'm printing. So if you see here, it will print numbers from 1 to 10. Since the whenever when while condition is true, it will keep on executing while statements. As soon as while condition evolutes to false, in this case, it will just enter into this else block, which was placed right after while, and will just execute this block. So in this case, it will print numbers 1 to 10, and it will just say number is no longer greater than 10, since this was the statement which we have defined in else block. Okay. And here are some examples. So currently I have shown you, right? Like this is the case. So if this is the case, I think I have missed out indentation here. Okay. This will kind of keep on running forever. The reason being, we are kind of not handling this increment operation properly. So there is some small index correction over here. So I'll be kind of correcting this when sharing with you. Okay. This while, and this should be properly indented. Okay. So in this case, we have this while. If you see the second block, while number is less than or equal to 20, we are doing same thing again. We have initialized a variable with number equal to 1, and while number is less than or equal to 20, we'll be kind of printing it. Okay. We'll be kind of printing it. So if you see this condition here, if number is equal to 9, so while within while loop, if number is equal to 9, we are just breaking the loop. Okay. As soon as number becomes 9, we are breaking the while loop and we are coming out of that. So in this case, output will be for numbers from 1 to 9. Okay. If you see the third case, we have number again, same number and same while operation, and we are kind of printing number. Okay. When it is less than or equal to 9. And if you see here, if number equal to 9, we are kind of just doing increment and we are continuing with next iteration. Okay. So now I wanted you guys to guess what will be the output for this block. Okay. I'm giving like 2 minutes of time. Yeah, yeah. Please.
It skips 9 and print 1 to 20 everything.
Sorry.
It skips the 9.
Okay. It skips 9. And then.
It will print every number.
Okay. So yeah, as Varshita said, it's kind of it will be skipping 9. Okay. It will print all the numbers from 1 to 20 except 9. The reason being, if number is equal to 9, then we are just making increment and we are continuing in the sense we are just skipping the current iteration and we are moving to next iteration. Okay. So now this is the condition. This is in this condition. Can you guys guess what will be the output? Okay. For the fourth block. Just read it carefully. This is the same problem, but I have used different types of break. What you say? What's here? So what will be the output for this code block? Any guesses?
Oh,
Only one will be printed because there is no increment.
Only one will be printed. Huh?
Yes.
Any other guesses?
And it continues.
Any other guesses? So I think one of you said only one will be printed since we are not incrementing it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you carefully observe this, what I am doing here, I am initializing number is equal to 1, and while number is less than or equal to 20, I am printing number, and if number equal to 9, I am just passing this, right? So only one will be printed as you said, but this will be kind of keeps on printing one forever. So this is kind of, it will be entering into infinite loop in this case. Okay. This will be entering into infinite loop because we are not performing any, we are not making any changes to this number. We are just initialize number and we are making some comparison and printing. So this number is equal to 1. This will be forever and this condition also will be true forever. So it will keep on executing. Okay, just again I am reiterating, just be careful with this infinite loop because this will be kind of filling up the memory and it will cause system crashes as well. Okay, it's very dangerous thing. Just make sure that you won't run into these infinite loops when you are performing some coding. And then we have this thing here, right? Number is equal to 1, while the number is equal to 20, we are printing it. Okay. And if number is no longer 20, then we are kind of printing the statement that number is no longer 20. So again, I have missed one thing here. Let me do that for you. See, this is our tendency. We'll kind of keep on missing this particular thing when using while loops. We'll kind of keep on forgetting this variable increment. Will not be handling. If I'm not handling this, if I'm not giving this thing here, then this kind of will enter into infinite loop, same as the fourth block of code, right? So just be careful with this. So now I think we are good with for and while loops as well, right? So far we have covered conditional statements and the looping statements. So any questions in these parts? Okay, guys, any questions in if and for loops? Sorry, in the if else and for while statements. Clear, right? Clear with looping and conditional statements, right?
If k modular 2, that
Okay.
condition.
In code, you are talking about code, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you see the condition for I in range of 3, so what
Okay.
I'm doing here, I'm taking I in range of 3 and it will consider 0, 1, 2 for first I. Okay. Clear, right?
Okay.
So it will print numbers from 1 to 3. 0 to 2, sorry. 0 to 2. Will print number 0, 1, 2 here. This loop. Okay. And I'm going into second loop within the first for loop. Here what I'm doing for j in range of 20. Okay. For every I, see when I is 0, it will print it and it will go inside. Okay.
Okay.
It will go inside and again for second I, for second it will check for j in 20. For j in 20, it will check if j is not equal to 0 or let me remove this condition so that it will be similar to other conditions. So here it will be checking numbers 1 to 20. And whenever this number is perfectly divisible by 5, this will print 5 number. Okay. So in this case, we have done with 0 in first loop. So in second loop, j is equal to 1. It will print false. Sorry, it won't print anything, right? Okay.
Okay.
J is equal to what you say? J is 1 in our case. 1 divided 1 percentile 5 is false because 1 is not exactly divisible by 5, right? So it will go inside. Okay.
Okay.
It won't go inside. Sorry, it won't go inside, and it will go into K here. Okay. In K, if you observe the flow, first 0 is done. After 0 is done, it will enter into J. In J for first iteration. Now we have J is equal to 1. It will check if J is equal to like J is divisible by 5 or not. If it is divisible, then it will go inside. Since 1 is not, this condition is false. Okay, this for loop is completed now.
Okay.
Here, it will again go to the third for loop. Now we have I is equal to 0, j is equal to 1, and k is equal to 1. Okay. Now we have I is equal to 0, j is equal to 1, k is equal to 1. So now we are in the third for loop. Third
Okay.
for loop for the first and second, first iteration of two for loops. We are in the first iteration of third for loop. Here what we are doing, we are checking if number is divisible by 4 or not. Okay. We're just checking number is divisible by 4 or not. If it is divisible, then we are printing 4 number. Okay. Not
Okay.
odd number, 4 number. So if you see here, for numbers 1 to 10, it will check if number is divisible by 4 or not, and it will just print 4. In first case, 1 is not divisible by 4. So it will just don't do anything. Okay. It will just go away. Then we have this for j again, right? It will again go back to this loop. Okay. We'll again go back to this loop. In j now we have 2. 2 is not divisible by 5. Then it will again come to the third loop since it won't do anything. Even here it won't be doing anything. So here when it encounters 4 for the first time, it has printed number 4. Okay. Then we are kind of breaking it here after number 4 is printed in the third for loop. Then we are going again back to second one, and j is equal to 2. We don't have any conditions, so we are skipping it and we are entering into third loop. So here we have now j is equal to 2, and for every j is equal to 2, we are kind of printing it like we are iterating through this again. Okay. For
Okay.
j is equal to 2, again it will check numbers 1 to 10 for k, and wherever number 4 is encountered, it will just stop breaking. It is just stop breaking. Now this loop will be break, and again it will go to this second loop. Here we have j is equal to 3 now, right? We have done 1, 2, and we have 3 now. Even 3 is not divisible by 5, then it will enter into third loop. Third time, again it will do the same thing. It will third time it is checking k for 1 to 10, and whenever it is encountering 4, it is printing this. Same happens. Then it will break. Now fourth time. Fourth time also this condition is not satisfied. It will come inside this and it will print this 4 number. Now for j is equal to 5. After 4 is done, then it will again go back here. For fifth time, the condition is satisfied. If you see here, j is equal to 5 is being satisfied here. So it will enter into this if loop. Within if loop, what we have, print 5 number. For j is equal to 5, we have this 5 number, right? So
Yes.
after 5 is encountered, we are breaking this. We are breaking second loop only when 5 is encountered. We are breaking the inner loop only when 4 is encountered. Okay. For every 0, it will execute j times. For every I, it will execute j times, and for every j, it will execute k times this loop. And since it encountered 5 here, it will break this loop as well. Now this loop as well is broken. Ultimately, this whole loop will be broken. The reason being, this is part of this second loop, right? When it encounters break here, all this will be kind of broken. All this loop will be broken. Now it will again go back to the outer loop since it is breaking only 2 loops. Now we have 1 here, right? We
Yes.
have done with 0, and then we have 1 here. So for 1 also, it will keep on doing same thing. Now I is equal to 1, it has printed. It will go inside the second loop. For j is equal to 1 to 20, it will again continuously keep on checking till the 4 is, till j is equal to 4, it will print number 4, because within third loop we are breaking right after 4. When it encounters 5 here, it will kind of print 5 and it will break the second iteration.
Okay.
Now this will again go to the third iteration, which will be I is equal to 2. It will just print I is equal to 2 here, and it will enter inside. It will keep on checking if j is equal to 5 or not. As long as j is not equal to 5, it will go to k, this third loop. In third loop, as long as k is not equal to, like, not divisible by 4 or not, it will keep on printing, like, As long as, like, as soon as it encounters 4, it will print it and it will break it. Okay. If you see here, for J, it will kind of enter inside once and it will print it. And again, it will go back here and it will come until 5 is encountered. Once 5 is encountered, this will again break after printing this. Clear, right?
Yes, yes, clear.
Now, outer loop executed 3 times. Okay. For every outer loop execution, the second for loop is executing 20 times. Basically, ideally it should execute 20 times. Since we have enforced this condition, for every I outer loop, the second loop will be executed 5 times. And for every Z, the third loop will be executed 4 times. The reason being, we are checking for this condition here, right?
Yes.
Understood?
Yes, understood.
And let's see, let's make it even more simple because this is kind of bit complex. Now I'm having here numbers 1 to 0 to 2, and I'm having numbers here 0 to 3. Okay, if you see here, if I am removing this break now from here, I have this break with me, right? Okay. Print K, I have print I, and I have print J. Okay. Print J. This will be my second loop. And this will be my third loop. Okay. And this will be my first loop. So if you see here, you can understand the things now. Now, first loop, it has taken 0, and for every 0, it will go inside second loop. Then it's printing 0 again here, since range is 0 to 2, right? Then for every 0 value of second, it will go into third loop, and it will print values from 0 to 2, since we have given K range in 3. Now again, after third loop is completed, we have second loop, right? For second loop 1, it will again print third loop. Okay. After second loop is done, now we are done with second loop as well, since we have only 2 here. Then it will enter the first loop again. Again, it will print first loop here. First loop will be 1. Second loop will be again 0, and second loop will be 1. For every second, first and second loop, third loop will be printed 3 times. Okay. And then for first loop, we have 2 again. And for every first loop 2 value, second loop will be executed 2 times, since we have 2 prints, like 2 digits over there. And for every second loop, the third loop will be executed 3 times. Right? Now this is even more simple, and you can know, right, how it will be working. Now if I am giving breaks here, each loop will be executed only once. Okay, if you see here, it won't even go inside third. The reason being, it is encountering break statement in the second loop. So it will just print first loop, second loop 0, and then it will break. And again, first loop 1, second loop 0, and it will break. And then first loop 2, second loop 0, and it will break. Clear, right?
Yes, clear.
So break will be breaking only that loop. This break will be breaking only this loop.
Okay.
So I think any other questions? I think it's already 4:30. If you guys give 10 minutes for me, I came up with one small quiz so that I just need to understand how well you guys are able to grasp the things which I am telling. Okay. I'm just continuing with the quiz. So I have few questions over here. I just need like one of you to answer. I'll be calling you with names and you have to answer. Okay. So first question we have this. Which of the following loop should be used when working with sequence? Okay, question is which of the following loop should be used when working with sequence? We have while, switch, if else, and for. Okay, I think first question. I think I'll come in order. Guru, can you answer the first question? Which of the following loop should be used when working with sequence?
If else.
Guru,
For loop.
Guru,
For loop.
for loop. Okay, yeah, I think it's correct. So whenever we have sequences, we should always go with the for loop. Okay. And then second question, which of the following is used to skip the current iteration of the loop? Okay. I think Varshita, you can answer this question. Which of the following is used to skip the current iteration?
Continue.
Yeah. Continue. Okay. Just remember again, continue, difference between continue and pass. Pass will be doing nothing and continue will be kind of skipping the current iteration. And second, we have this. If the assert expression evolutes to false, then assertion error is raised. Is it true or false? Yeah. So whenever the assertion error is false, then this is kind of raise a assertion error with the custom message which we have given. Okay. And then in an if else ladder, the else block will be executed always. Shiva, your turn. In if else ladder, else block will be executed always. Is it true or false? False. The reason? So else block will be executed always. You said false, right? Why? Like why else block won't execute always? Okay. Anyone else can come up with this like explanation? Like he said it is false. Like why exactly? Like where is it false or is it true or why? You have to support your answer.
Else block is only will be executed after if else if block is become false.
Okay. So in if else ladder, we have many, even though we have many if else conditions. Okay. If any of the condition in if or else block is true, then else loop won't be executed. When all of the if and else conditions are false, only then the else block, which is at end, will be executed. Okay. This is false basically because if any if conditions or else conditions are true, then else block will be skipped. Okay, I think I have revealed the answer. Flow control determines, you can go through options here. Basically, order of statement execution. Okay. Flow control statements will define in what order statements needs to be executed and which will be skipped. Okay. And then we have which statement will execute conditionally. Now again, Guru, you can go with the answer. Which condition, sorry, which statement will execute conditionally?
Uh, for if while three are working with conditions only, right?
Is it conditionally?
Conditional. While loop.
Condition.
Okay, I think it will be the question is bit tricky here. If you see for loop, for I in range of 10, and we took this for I in range of 10, right? In number from numbers 1 to 10, the for loop keep on executing. Okay, there is no condition defined for that, right? Right? It will kind of execute unconditionally without any conditions, right? And when we come to while will execute as long as condition is true. Okay. As long as the condition is true, it will be keep on executing unconditionally. Sorry. It will be keep on executing unconditionally. In this case, only if will be executing conditionally. If a statement is true, it will execute that. Then it will go back and it will again check for other condition. Okay. Here,
Okay.
conditional in the sense it is bound to one condition, single condition. Okay. For and while are kind of, they will execute unconditionally. In case of for, it will execute as long as sequence is ended. In case of while, it will keep on executing as long as condition is evaluated to false. Okay. And what does break statement do when used inside nested loop? Varshita, you can pick your option.
Yeah. It
You
is
can read
the
question.
exits the loop and program is terminated.
Okay, exits the loop and program is terminated. Okay, I think anyone like Varshita is going with option D, that it will exit the loop and program will get terminated. Right?
Option
Any others?
option B.
Option D?
Option B.
B. Yeah.
Only
The correct
exists.
answer for this will be option B.
Uh,
So if you observe the question here, what does break statement do when used inside nested loop? Right? If we are having for loops, first for loop, second for loop, third for loop, and fourth for loop. And if it is encountering break statement in third loop here, okay, then it will just terminate this loop. Okay, this will terminate third and fourth loops because fourth loop is coming within third one, right? It will exit from this loop. It will break this loop basically, but these outer two loops won't be affected. This will keep on executing. Okay. After this is break it will again go back to the loop, second loop, outermost loop, and it will again come inside and it will again execute this third loop. After break is executed, sorry, encountered, it will break these two loops again. So it's kind of, it only exits innermost loop where we have given this break statement. Okay. Just remember that questioning, wordings basically. In an if statement, what will be executed if the conditions evaluate to false? Banu, your turn. In an if statement, what will be executed if conditions evaluate to false?
No statements will be executed, Mahesh.
Exactly. If you see here, we have only one if statement. We don't have any else or elif blocks, right? So if statement is condition is not satisfied, then it will just skip that. Like it won't execute any statement. And then what does say for loop do? Shiva, your turn. Shiva, your turn. Just మీకు అనిపించింది చెప్పండి కరెక్ట్ అవ్వాలని రూల్ లేదు ఓకే మైట్ బి రాంగ్ ఇట్ మైట్ బి కరెక్ట్ జస్ట్ దట్ డిస్కస్ చేస్తాం ఆ అండర్స్టాండింగ్ అంతే ఎందుకు కరెక్ట్ ఎందుకు కాదని execute statements as long as condition is true. Anyone else? Which is the correct answer for this? What does a for loop do? Just read the options carefully. It's not like understanding question. It's like interpreting why the option is correct. Okay. That's the way you can check yourself if you are like good with concepts or not, which you have covered so far. Anyone else?
Iterate
Shiva
over
said,
sequence of elements.
okay. Varshita said it's iterate over sequence of elements, and Shiva said it's execute statements as long as condition is true. Any other answers?
check condition and execute statements.
Okay. Any other answers? Okay. So basically, the correct option here would be option 2. If you see, what does a for loop do? Execute statements as long as condition is true. So for loop won't be checking for any conditions, right? If you are giving for I in range of 100, print 100. It will keep on printing numbers from 1 to 100. It won't check for any conditions. But if we have while number less than 100, print of number. So what this while loop will do? While loop will keep on checking number. Like if number is less than 100, it will keep on printing. As soon as number crosses 100, the while loop stops. Right? Execute statements as long as condition is true. That is for while loop. Okay. Iterate over sequence of elements. For loop will just iterate over any sequence. It may be numbers, it may be list, it may be letters as well, string as well. Let's say if we have one string, it will for character in string keep print character. It will keep on iterating through whole character. Okay. And check conditions and execute statements. This is for if statement. Okay. Only if statement will be checking for conditions and then it will execute the statement if condition is true.
Option B.
Option B.
Yeah.
Option B. Okay. Banu, what's your take? What might be the correct answer here?
I think it's C, Mahesh.
It's C.
Yes, Mahesh.
Okay. So just be careful with the wordings here. Okay. It will be options B. You observe what does continue statement do in Python, right? So continue statement will skip the current iteration. If you see the option C, skips the current line and executes the rest of the lines. So this is true for pass. Okay. If you are having pass, then pass is nothing, right? Pass will do nothing. If you have pass in a line, that line will be skipped. Nothing will happen in that line. But when it encounters continue, it will kind of skip all the lines below that. Okay. Let me show that. I think I'm not sure if you guys understood things properly or not. Just feel free in asking. I can kind of explain any number of times you wanted. Okay. See, if you see here, I have for I in range of 5. Okay. Or else let me take range of 50 as well. Okay. If 50, if I is equal to 3. If I is equal to 3, I'm just continuing. Okay. I'm doing nothing. I don't need 5 here. Sorry for that. It will keep on going to printing 50 times. If I is equal to 3, I'm just making continue here. And if you see here, print, I have given 3 prints over here. And if I'm executing this now, what you can see, this has been printed 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, right? So for I in range of 6, I am iterating through numbers from 0 to 5, which are 6 numbers. And when number 3 is encountered, I am just continuing. Continuing in the sense, when number is equal to 3, it will enter into this if condition and it will continue. What continue will be doing? It will skip all the below lines. Okay. All the below lines in the sense, it will skip whole iteration. When I is equal to 3, it will skip all the iteration, like current iteration, and will just go back to I is equal to 4. Right? When I is equal to 4, then it will again start printing. Till I is equal to 6, it keep on printing this. Only when I is equal to 3, it will skip this iteration, right? And if I am having pass here, so in the case of pass, you will be getting output 6 times. The reason being, pass is kind of doing nothing here. There is no significance for this, and it will just skip this line. Okay, it will just skip this line. It is not doing anything here. I think I don't have much time. So in this case, as Banu or I think Banu only said this, right? So input function will always return string. Okay. Whenever we are taking some user input, let's say if we are having number is equal to input of enter any number. So it will just give us string. Okay. Input will always give us number in string format. If I see here, if even though I'm giving number here, okay, I'm performing this conversion. If I'm removing this conversion and if I'm taking any input from user, you can see that like the type is string. Okay, input function will always provide us the output in string format. We need to convert it. We need to typecast it to the format which we need. If we want to accept it as an integer, we need to do that. Okay, if I'm even though if I'm giving some floating point number here, okay, I think this won't agree with this dot symbol within string. Okay. Now, if you see here, I'm entering floating point number and I'm trying to convert it into integer. It will throw error. If I give this float of number and I am giving same number again here, 22.54 something, you can see a type will be float now. Okay. Just remember this. Even I'll be kind of forgetting this like every time. If I'm giving int of 22.56, you will get answer that it is converted to integer. If I'm doing same with int of 22.56 in string, it won't be able to interpret this. Okay, this dot as the decimal separator. So it will kind of throw up this error. So just remember this because I'll be kind of making this mistake every time I perform this type conversion.